Am I the arsehole? For refusing to ask my parents to take down a memorial to my late daughter? I gave birth to twins 2 years ago. My babies were seemingly born healthy, but before we could be discharged, my daughter, Indy, suffered a seizure and never got to come home. For 8 months she'd go from getting better to worse again. Until the day came where she would never get better again. She slipped away peacefully in my arms, and it's something I will never forget. Our whole family were devastated by the loss of Indy. My eels are crafty people and made a beautiful memorial frame for Indy. They kept one themselves and gave them to my husband and I and my parents. My parents display theirs in the living room so everyone can see when they visit them. They also have candles directly under it. They light candles for the twins' birthday and Indy's anniversary. My sister gave birth to her first child back May, and she named her daughter Indy. I'll confess that I have been unable to look at it as some beautiful tribute because it's difficult to hear the name used for another little girl in the family other than my Indy. But I have kept that to myself. Now a few months on, my sister is bothered by the fact our parents kept Indy's memorial up when her Indy will see it whenever she's there. She said it's very morbid and seems gross to do to her daughter, who will grow up feeling very weird with her name on a memorial at her grandparents like that. My parents told her she should have thought of that before she named her daughter Indy. My sister was like, OP doesn't own that name and I should be allowed to use a name I love. When our parents didn't give in to her demands, she came to me. She told me it bothers her and she knows it will bother her daughter in years to come. She wanted me to tell our parents to take down the memorial. I refused to entertain her idea. She pushed and I told her I did not want my daughter's memory tucked away forever. My sister yelled and told me that my Indy is gone and there's a living, breathing Indy who deserves to feel comfortable at her grandparents' house. I told my sister to get the fuck out of my face. My sister said I was a total a-hole for putting the memory of Indy before her Indy. She also said it will only confuse my son in the future when he
Am I the asshole? For refusing to change the color of my sister's bridesmaid dress, even though she hates it? I can't believe I'm posting about this, but I really need some insight. I am getting married to my fiancé in November. We're really excited and the day is fast approaching. I have 5 women being my bridesmaids. One of them is my sister, Millie. Millie has always been more of a tomboy growing up but doesn't have an issue with wearing dresses for formal events. I want my bridesmaids to wear matching dresses, which everyone knew when they accepted. I bought and paid for the dresses. They're a relatively simple style and in a pastel pink color. Millie is now angry and saying she won't wear the dress because it's pink and too girly. She's even threatening to not attend the wedding anymore unless I return her dress and pick out another color. I'm distraught that she'd make such a problem out of a dress color when she knew I wanted the bridesmaids to match. I think Millie is being dramatic and could deal with wearing the dress for one day, but TBH, my feelings are really hurt that she'd threaten to drop out of the wedding over this. My fiancé thinks I should kick her out of the wedding party before she causes bigger problems. Closer to or on the day, my parents got themselves involved in this and told me to just exchange the dress for the same one in a different color and that we're both acting like children. Would I be the asshole if I told Millie to suck it up and wear the dress if she wants to be a bridesmaid and not budge on the issue? Not the asshole. Whether she is a tomboy is irrelevant. She agreed to be a bridesmaid. This is what you chose. I'd have more sympathy in the event the style was extremely low cut, it didn't fit a busty woman, or something of that nature. Simply hating the color? Deal with it. It's one day, she didn't have to pay for it. Not the asshole. Give her 2 options. Wear the dress. It's one day. Pink isn't going to make her suddenly turn into Elle Woods. Don't wear the dress and come as a guest or don't attend. Her choice. If you give in on one thing, she's just going to keep throwing tantrums. I don't want flowers there. Girly. You makeup? Girly. I don't do my hair like that. Too girly. Don't let there be any more arguments. Don't listen to anyone else other than fiancé. Not the asshole. It's a color. It won't change her whole identity to wear pink for one day. Face with rolling eyes. P.S. I despise the color pink with the passion. Especially pastel pink. If my sister or best friend asked me to wear it for their wedding, I'd say yes ma'am. Maybe gripe to my husband in private. But still wear it. Not the asshole, and I would give Millie a choice. This is the dress. Wear it or don't be in the bridal party. Those are the choices. You are not unreasonable to ask her to wear the dress in the color you've chosen for your wedding. I think that your best choice is going to be to tell her that you want her in the wedding. But the dress is the dress is the dress, and if she's more unhappy about the color than she wants to be your bridesmaid, then you understand and you will find someone else or simply have 4 bridesmaids. Tell her you need her decision ASAP. And if she agrees to stay in the wedding, you don't want to hear any more complaints from her or your parents. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't budge. She is being so selfish and ridiculous. It's your wedding day and she is making it about herself. She seriously can't suck it up and wear pink for one day? If she wants to make a fool of herself and back out of the wedding over something so childish and stupid, let her. She'll be the one regretting it when she looks back years from now. You just focus on enjoying her day. And try not to worry about her bad attitude. The way she's acting isn't fair to you. Info. Did no one know the color of the dresses before you bought them? I don't understand how this could have been a surprise. I assume you chose wedding colors and people were aware of them. Either way, not the asshole. It's your wedding. She doesn't have to be a bridesmaid. Not the asshole. Let it be up to her. She can wear the dress with a smile and be a bridesmaid. Or wear what she wants and not be a bridesmaid. You're not the asshole. My parents got themselves involved in this and told me that we're both acting like children. No. Only one of you is stamping her foot and threatening to take her ball and go home. And it isn't you. I read a lot of posts about entitled brides driving their friends and families crazy with over-the-top demands. Asking your sister to wear pink is not over the top. I wouldn't kick her out of the wedding. But hold firm to your color choice. Tell her if she chooses to drop out because of this, it will make you very sad. But you won't fight her. Let her paint herself into that corner. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I hate pink with a passion. And I wore it in my cousin's wedding. And it had ruffles. It's one day. It's less than one day. Your sister can wear it or she can bow out. Not the asshole. Ultimatum time. Either be a bridesmaid and wear the dress or not be a bridesmaid. Dress is already paid for. Bridesmaids match, that's it. If she doesn't want to wear it, that's fine. Tell her no one is forcing you to be a bridesmaid. You can drop out and just come as a regular guest. It's your choice. Your parents are trying to make peace, but at the same time they need to get a pair and tell the baby of the family to stop acting like one. Not the asshole. My sister is making me wear the ugliest shade of orange I have ever seen. The material is unflattering and so is the cut. I will happily wear the dress because it is not about me and it's what she wants. Not the asshole. Your fiancé is right. Kick her out now. Not the asshole. I'd take her up on her offer to not be part of the wedding party and not attend the wedding if she's really going to stick to it. I imagine you want her to participate. But she and your parents are being ridiculous. Your parents maybe more so than your sister for enabling her horrible attitude. Millie is too old to be hanging on to the hatred of pink that half of teenage girls have. She's a grown-up. She can wear the dress or she can attend as a guest in a different one. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Is she the golden child? Not the asshole. Tell Millie that Copernicus called and it turns out she's not the center of the universe. Edit. My parents got themselves involved in this and told we're both acting like children. This is insulting both to you, who is acting like a reasonable, responsible adult in this situation, and to all children who, unlike Millie, wear shit they don't want to weddings all the time without throwing a tantrum. Not the asshole. If she's always this difficult, you shouldn't budge. On the off chance that your sister is usually pretty chill and just has an issue with the dress, it would be worth talking to her about it. Maybe give her the option of only wearing the dress during the ceremony. And then after a few photos, let her change into an outfit that she likes. But it's totally up to you. And wanting her to wear the dress does not make you an Not the asshole. Stick to it. All of your other bridesmaids are able to do this and have already paid for their dresses. She wants to be extra. But it's not her day for that. Tell her you understand that she would prefer to pull out of the bridesmaid role rather than wear the dress, and that's cool with you. Then make sure you set some broad but reasonable limits on what she can wear as a guest, because she sounds like the type to continue to throw a tantrum and grandstand in other ways, i.e. she'll want to wear a white dress or a Morticia's dress from the Addams Family or something styled like it's a Broadway musical costume. Not the asshole. This is your wedding, so these decisions are yours. What a selfish brat. Tell her that is the dress and she doesn't want to wear it, then she's not a bridesmaid. Bridesmaids are supposed to support the bride, not create problems over nothing. Not the asshole and call her bluff. I'm not going to attend the wedding. Okay. Don't feed into Millie's drama. Make it seem like it's not a big deal. Not the asshole. I like your fiancé's suggestion. Do you know anyone who is the same size? Am I the asshole for not telling my mom I was writing a book until right before I was ready to publish? This is my first time posting, so please be gentle. My mother and I have an okay relationship. It's been getting better since I have been grown, had children and done some healing from my childhood and early adulthood. I wrote a book, under a pen name, that details some of my experiences and how I overcame the trauma of those events. Some of these events are about my mom and some are about healing from other things in life, like abuse, cancer, etc. I don't paint my mother in a horrible light, but I tell my story from my truth. When it pertains to her, when I get to the healing part of the journey, I even express empathy and understanding as to why my mom did some of the things she did. My mom has a habit of making everything about her. It is tiring, and I am experienced enough with her at this point to navigate in such a way that allows her to be herself. She hasn't done much healing of her own and remain a part of my life. I have 2 children that she adores and I don't want to cut them off from their only grandmother. So, once I was ready for publication, I told my mom, because I am not heartless and didn't want to blindside her. I sent her a proof to read, even though I don't use anyone's real names. She is pissed. She said I make her look like a monster. She literally was one of the monsters in my story for a long time, and if I publish this book she will never speak to me and write me out of her will. I am her only living child. I don't care about the will, but she is threatening to not talk to me. My siblings passed away and it's just me and her left. Now I am wondering if I should not publish. I didn't write the book to paint her in a bad light. She isn't even the main trauma. I wrote the book because people that know me would always say, "You should write a book. It could really help others." So one day, I did just that. Am I the asshole? Or is my mom making herself the center again and manipulating me out of publishing my hard work? Info: why would you write under a pen name and then share it with her? You could have published it and she would never be the wiser. Not the asshole. Just foolish. You should probably just have never told her. So many books get published. She would never know. That was a silly thing to do. Way you do depends on how important your relationship with your mom is to your kids and you. If you do it, it's a coin toss whether she actually goes through with it. So be prepared if you do it. I'm not sure why you told her about this. Don't feel bad about expressing things from your past if she didn't want to look like a monster. She shouldn't have been the monster. Op. Change your pen name and title. And publish it. Without telling her. Not the asshole for your book. You're the asshole for telling your mom at all. You're the asshole because I think deep down, your mother was your targeted audience. You used a pen name and changed other names to not be recognized. Your mother was unlikely to ever come across the book. Yet you voluntarily chose to give it to her. If this was part of your healing, then at least be honest with yourself and don't act like you were just doing your mother a favor. The book was under a pen name and names were changed. I think you should bring this up with a therapist. Sounds like you wanted your mother to read about your experience with her from your POV. And that you made her your audience. Now you're using her reaction to validate her character and asking us to do the same in order to prop yourself up. No thank you. Esh. Getting major self-publishing vibes about the book. Not the asshole. I wrote a short story on my mom once and she found it. Changed names and everything. When she found it, she showed it to me asking if I had wrote it. I was very nervous cause it was actually a really mean story. But she just sat back and was like, "Man, that mom you wrote is a nightmare. I could never treat my babies that way." I just chuckled and took it from her and told her I was gonna put it away. As I went to put it away, I couldn't help but sob uncontrollably afterwards. Because she was a nightmare. You were hoping that by reading this your mom would have her come to Jesus moment and you'd have the movie moment where old wounds are healed and you can move forward. But life isn't like that. You know she will never acknowledge what she did to you. How she impacted your life and the trauma she inflicted. Maybe see this book as a cathartic release. But your mom is manipulating you by trying to control you through money. What kind of relationship do you want with your mom? What is the outcome you're looking for that is achievable? So you went through all that work of overcoming your trauma and abuse just to cave again? You're the asshole. It was unlikely she would have stumbled across your book. It's clear you deliberately told her to gauge her reaction and see if she had had any personal growth. Maybe even own up to some of her actions. I get it. My mom is exactly like her. But let's not mislead yourself or this community with a calculated decision. You're the asshole. You did this to yourself. Transparent and plain to see. Yeah, your mom fucked you over, but therapy is supposed to help you grow to take responsibility for your life moving forward. Nothing you wrote here shows that level of personal growth. You didn't even take responsibility for your own book. People who know me, okay, pally AITA, sorry. People that know me. Not the asshole. Anne Lamott once wrote, you own everything that happened to you. Tell your stories. If people wanted you to write warmly about them, they should have behaved better. I think it's possible you subconsciously wanted your mother to acknowledge the harm she did you. That's normal and unfortunately rarely a thing that we get in our lives. But your mother's actions in your past, no matter their motivation, don't entitle her to be completely sheltered from anyone else finding out about them. You own your stories. Why did you send it to your mother if it was under a pen name and the names were changed? It would not have blindsided her at all unless you are expecting her to happen upon your book and read it and then recognize herself. I suspect your motives here to be honest, but there is not enough information to make a judgment. Not the asshole. Your mistake was telling her at all. Am I the asshole? Or is my mom making herself the center again and manipulating me out of publishing my hard work? What the hell did you expect? What did you hope to get from doing this if you don't plan on cutting contact? A pat on the back and an apology? Validation of your upbringing? You said she would probably do that and she did it? Not the asshole. However, your relationship with your mom will probably never recover. I don't know what the point of publishing under a pen name was if you were going to show it to her. Anyway. Not the asshole because you're not obligated to tell anyone anything. But why on earth did you tell her at all? You've made a rod for your own back now. I wrote a book about my childhood sexual abuse under a pen name. I didn't tell my family as it was my brother who abused me and most don't know. You already let the cat out of the bag. Publish it and come what may. You're the asshole for giving her the book at all, and you would be an even bigger if you didn't publish it. Not the asshole, but I think that what OP really wanted was for her mom to accept responsibility. And maybe even apologize for the stuff she did during OP's childhood. That isn't going to happen. But I bet it was cathartic to write this stuff down. I'd wait on publishing the book. Maybe 5 or 10 years. By then, the kids will have realized what a jerk your mom is. And want to avoid her. Do you have an agent? I don't want to be critical. But you don't simply decide to publish. It takes at the very least a few months for an agent to send to editors. Have an auction. Go through editorial and copy editing. Cover art. Marketing. And printing. It might be that you're self-publishing. And that's fine. But it's not going to sell unless you are an extraordinary promoter. Not the asshole. Move forward. I don't think you should have told her just yet.
Am I the asshole? For embarrassing someone by pretending to be Japanese? Backstory: F20 have a Japanese name. Even though I am not ethnically Japanese, my mum is Korean, my dad is British. They met and fell in love while studying in Japan, and had me there after marrying. We lived there until I was 14 before moving to the States. This will be important later on. Today a group of my roommate's friends came over to study with her, and I happened to be in the living room when they arrived. They were introducing themselves to me, and when I said my name, I have a pretty common Japanese girl name, so it's pretty hard to be mistaken about the origin, and one of the girls made a disgusted face and laughed at me, saying that was so dumb. She said that she was Japanese American and I was culturally appropriating her country as a white person. I tried to explain that I lived in Japan for a while and that was why, but she kept insisting I was lying and that if I was telling the truth I would be able to speak the language. Since she put it like that, I started talking to her in Japanese, basically explaining where I lived there and asking which prefecture her parents were from, etc. She ends up stuttering through a sentence in an awkward manner before leaving in a huff. Later my roommate told me I embarrassed her by pretending to be more Japanese than an actual Japanese person and appropriating the culture, and her friend expected an apology. My roommate doesn't think I did anything wrong, but now I feel like I've bad. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. As a white person, if your mother is Korean, you're biracial. Hit back by telling everyone you're expecting an apology from her for disrespecting your biracial identity and minimizing the discrimination that people of Korean blood experience in Japan. If she wants to play social justice poker, show her you've got a full house, and make her pay up. Not the asshole. The Japanese American guest was out of line, making rude comments about your name, and accusing you of lying when you told her you'd grown up there. You weren't pretending anything. You have a Japanese name because that's the name your parents chose for you, and you speak the language because you grew up there. You did not embarrass her in any way. She embarrassed herself. She made an incorrect assumption even after you explained your history and background. You should be expecting the apology. I am confused about what they thought you were appropriating. Your parents gave you your name, and it's not cultural appropriation to speak a language, especially after she asked you to. Seems like they wanted you to introduce yourself as Ashley, erase the first 14 years of your life, pretend you didn't know Japanese and defeatedly sigh, "You got me." Not the asshole. She said that she was Japanese American and I was culturally appropriating her country as a white person. People from East Asia generally do not waste time obsessing about PC crap like cultural appropriation. That's more of a second-generation immigrant thing in Western countries, specifically, the US. Not the asshole. Their friend was the one who was rude, condescending, racist and a bore. You put her in her place. You deserve an apology for her. Don't you dare apologize, as you were totally in the right here. Natasha's mad because she looked dumb and made an assumption about you without knowing the facts. Unfortunately, I have found that many of my Asian friends that were born in America struggle with their cultural identity. Many have a lot of guilt about struggling with their language skills or cultural knowledge. But none of that is your responsibility or problem. You taught her a very valuable lesson. Not the asshole. You didn't choose your name, and you were literally born in Japan. That makes you Japanese. You're not just pretending to be. Edit: I learned today that Japan doesn't grant citizenship by birth, if we're being technical. Thanks for the info. But being born in Japan, growing up there and spending most of her life there is enough to make me think it's still part of her identity, and it sounds like OP feels that way as well. Not the asshole. She doesn't know the story nor history of your family. What gives her or her friend, supposedly, the audacity to expect an apology? Not the asshole. Grew up in the Japanese culture. Culturally, if not racially, she is Japanese. Not the asshole. Your name has literally no impact on anything significant outside of your own personal life. I don't believe in the ownership of names, just like I don't believe in the ownership of clothes or hairstyles. That kid is an asshole and is just virtue signaling. Your roommate is an asshole too. Not the asshole. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You aren't pretending to be anything. Not the asshole, this person fucked around and found out. Not the asshole. It's your name. It's not like our impersonating a Japanese person. My name is from a country I've never visited, but that's what my parents named me. Not the asshole. She's embarrassed because she called you out and you speak better Japanese than she does. She's the one who owes you an apology for trying to shame you for something beyond your control, your name, and then not being supportive when you backed it up by speaking the language. Not the asshole. You literally did nothing but say your own name. She never gave you an opportunity to provide any context, not that you should have to. Tried to prove you were lying by saying you ought to be able to speak Japanese, then left in a huff when you could indeed speak it. I cannot see a single thing here that you could reasonably be expected to have done differently in this scenario. Not the asshole. This friend is racist and ignorant. Not the asshole. She started it, you ended it. Clear. Not the asshole. Replying in Japanese was a power move. Good for you. No, you're not the asshole, but your friend and the Japanese American girl definitely are. Don't know how she can consider herself an actual Japanese person if she can't even match your language skills. Seems like she's more American than anything. Not the asshole. As everyone is saying, born there, few up there. There's a vocal minority in the Nikkei population that have very little connection back home, and push this kind of ideology. It's the same people that protest and complain about kimono shows and shops outside of Japan, crying cultural appropriation as Japanese diaspora, and ignoring the fact that the Japanese kimono industry is fronting the shops in an effort to revitalize the industry. It's absolutely not worth listening to this. Ha ha ha, you called her out and owned it. Not the asshole. She came for you first, Skull. Don't apologize for anything. She tried embarrassing you in front of everyone for you just having your name. This isn't about citizenship. This is about culture. You grew up there, so therefore you have part of that culture in you. Japanese American Japanese. Fucking Americans need to get this into their thick skulls. Just because your ancestors had X nationality does not make you said nationality. Especially when they don't know shit about culture or the language. My DNA said I am from X nation. No, you are a stupid American STFU. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, clearly. How the fuck you gonna appropriate a culture you were born and raised in for 14 years? Jesus. I've met enough Japanese Americans with a chip on their shoulder about not learning the language as they were born and raised in the US, so I imagine her anger and resentment comes from a place of deep-seated personal embarrassment, shame surrounding their own inability to use the language. Obviously their inability isn't their fault. You don't choose what languages you grow up speaking. Her attitude stinks though. Not the asshole. You're not pretending to be a Japanese person. You're half Korean, born and raised in Japan with a Japanese name that you didn't choose to be given. However, this Japanese American woman probably experiences a weird sense of dislocation and is kind of standing with one foot in America and the other in an idea of Japan. She's not one thing nor the other. She was rude, but I guess from a bit of an internal wound. Not the asshole. Ask her why she has Chinese ideograms in her name. She came at you really hot. Like, there is a much better way of responding to that situation. She didn't have to come in with accusations and not let you answer a question. She didn't have to make fun of you and accuse you of lying with no proof. 20 is pretty young, but she's still old enough that she should know better to behave like that and then throw a fit when she's proven wrong. Her immaturity is not your fault or your problem. You didn't do anything wrong. You told her, she chose not to listen, and she ended up getting embarrassed. Her feelings were a consequence of her own actions. Not the asshole.
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she ruined mine? Hey Reddit, long-time lurker, first-time poster. This situation has been eating me up and I'd really appreciate some outsider perspectives. So, my sister and I have had our ups and downs. As most siblings do. However, we've been really close the past few years. And I was so excited to have her as my maid of honor for my wedding last year. Flashback to my wedding day. I had this beautiful dress that I spent a fortune on. After the ceremony and during the reception, I noticed some red wine had been spilled on the bottom of my dress. I was devastated. I later found out from a bridesmaid that my sister had accidentally knocked over her wine glass. When she was trying to take a funny photo, she didn't come forward about it and didn't even apologize when I confronted her. Fast forward to now. My sister is getting married and she's fallen in love with a dress that's way out of her budget. She asked if I'd help her pay for half of it as her wedding gift. I flat out refused. I brought up how she ruined my dress and didn't take responsibility. And I feel like I shouldn't have to contribute towards hers. Now my family is divided. Half of them think I'm being petty and that I should let go of past grudges. The other half thinks I'm justified. So, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she ruined mine? I don't understand why she'd ask you to pay for dress even if she didn't ruin your dress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The whole background of what happened to your dress at your wedding is irrelevant. You are not obligated to dress your adult sister. Wow. Lucky sis, she has an entire half of your family believing she is entitled to others paying for 50% of the dress, no doubt. They would be more than happy to all chip in to cover the remainder of the cost, not the asshole. To the half of the family that thinks that you're being petty, tell them to pay for it. If they're so concerned about her dress. Not your problem. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Rule 1: do not try on wedding dresses outside your budget. Your sister should have known that going in. She owes you for the cleaning bill on your wedding dress. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to pay for any of her dress. She will just have to either find a dress in her budget or find a way to come up with the money to pay for the dress. Not the asshole. Regardless of how she ruined your dress, you are in no way obligated to help pay for hers. But especially because of how she treated you, your dress, I'd say heck no to helping pay for hers. Not the asshole. The backstory makes no difference. Your sister wants something and can't pay for it. You're not obligated to help her afford it. Not the asshole. Even if she hadn't been immature about ruining your dress, you're under no obligation to help pay for hers. Not the asshole on principle. Your money is yours, and you can do with it what you want, regardless of reason. Op. Who paid for your dress? Hint: I bet not your little sister. Not the asshole. Lil sis needs to spend her own money. You shouldn't have to pay for half of the dress regardless. She can get a toaster. I do think that you should let any hang-ups you have about the dress go. If you have any. You're never going to wear that dress again, but your family will be part of your life forever. Not the asshole. Even if she hadn't spilled wine on your dress, you shouldn't be involved in paying for her dress unless you offered to do so. It's crazy how many families just assume one of their kids is financially responsible for anyone but themselves. Half the cost of the wedding dress as a gift is an exorbitant gift to be outright asking for. NTA. Even if she did not ruin your dress, you are not obligated to pay any money towards her dress. This is a good time for your sister to learn to budget. Wine or no wine, it's not your job to pay for her dress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to pay for her wedding. She needs to budget better if she wants to eat caviar with a plastic spoon. What she did to your dress is entirely irrelevant. Not the asshole. That's a hell of a big assumption that you'd pay half. Were you even planning on spending that much on her wedding gift? Never mind the fact that she ruined your gown and failed to fess up to it. Not the asshole, and I'd still have that judgment even if she hadn't ruined your dress. I'm amazed she'd even ask you. In A, you shouldn't spend your money if you don't want to. For everyone saying you are petty, they can give money. B, did she apologize when you brought it up? She 100 should have told you when it happened and when try to fix it and pay for it to be cleaned or replaced. Not the asshole. This has nothing to do with your dress. You don't owe her anything and should be required to pay for her dress. Either they can put their money together and pay for the dress, or our sister can find a dress that fits within her budget like most reasonable brides do. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. All of the people thinking you are petty should donate to her dress fund. Ask them how much they are contributing towards the dress. Your wedding gift to her should be a dose of financial reality. Trust me, it's priceless. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Kind of cheeky and entitled of the sister to ask this of you. Not the asshole. To be honest, the damage to your dress is irrelevant. You have no obligation to help pay for her wedding. The only people who have an obligation to pay for their own wedding is the bride and groom. Anything else is a gift that should be offered, not asked for. Even if she hadn't spilled the wine, why would you pay for half her dress? First off, I don't think you should have to get anybody a wedding gift that isn't of your choosing. So do what you wish there. But don't you think it's odd that your bridesmaid saw this happen and didn't say anything in the moment? Maybe you could have gotten some, if not all, of the stain out had she alerted you immediately of the spill if she saw it occur. That just seems strange to me. I'd say you were let down by two bridesmaids on that day. What did your sister say when you confronted her about it? She didn't apologize, but did she own it? Did she know some got on your dress? Not the asshole. Start a group chat with everyone. Tell your sister that the following people offered to help her. Then list everyone who thinks you are being petty. Then tell them to fuck off. Her lack of budgeting doesn't make you responsible to pay, even as her sister. To add insult to injury though, she gets a beautiful gown and it isn't ruined. I mean, I'm a real I'd buy it and then spill red wine on it on purpose just for her entitled fit throwing. That's just me, lol. Would you have helped her pay for the dress if she hadn't spilled wine on your dress? Did she ever apologize for what she did to your dress? Not the asshole. Is that a thing, paying for your sister's wedding dress? Never heard of it and kinda ballsy to ask. Not the asshole. The answer doesn't make you any less not the asshole, but I'm curious. Who paid for your wedding dress? And why does everyone else feel like you should pay for hers? Not the asshole. Leaving your dress out of the equation for a minute. When a bride goes in to look at dresses, one of the questions asked is, what is your budget? She should not have looked at any dress out of that amount. Bringing your dress into it. She won't even own responsibility for her clumsy photography session. Won't apologize. Says it's no big deal. So turn that around on her. Don't apologize for not helping her. Just something like it's just a dress. Why does it matter so much? Am I the asshole? For telling my sister she is not allowed to compare my daughter's death to her cat. So if 38 lost my daughter just 2 weeks ago. She got leukemia 4 years ago and it just ended up spreading throughout her body. She fought very hard. For a long time. Cancer is such a bitch. I watched my poor baby suffer so much because of it. Anyway, since the loss of my daughter, A lot of people have been trying to comfort me, and I understand they are just trying their best, but it doesn't always help. My sister, who doesn't have kids, a personal choice of hers, F36 specifically, has been the worst at trying to help me. A year ago she had to put down her 16-year-old cat, whom I lost a pet before, so I know how difficult that can be, but it's different than losing my actual human daughter. She has said things like, "I know how you feel about daughter's name because of the loss of cat name. She was my child. I understand animals are like family, but my daughter and her cat aren't the same." I was trying to just ignore her and let her comfort me with how she felt. But today she came over and started talking about how she knows exactly how I feel because of her cat. I finally got upset and said, "No, you don't. Yes, pets can be part of the family and mean a lot to you. I understand losing your cat was hard. But my daughter was my daughter. So until you experience this type of grief and have to see your daughter die slowly from a horrible disease, you aren't allowed to act like losing a cat is the same thing." My sister got mad and called me a heartless AH. I talked to a few people and they agreed that I acted like an AH. So am I. Dude, this happened to me too. My mom died and one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, I remember watching my dog die." Like, I get humans like to try to connect, but what the actual fuck? Anywho, not the asshole. I'm so sorry you're going through this. No. I've lost a cat and also have kids. A cat is not the same thing, and there is no way she knows exactly how you feel. There are ways to be empathetic without trying to make a comparison like that. And I can understand being annoyed at constantly being told she went through the same thing. Even if you were being irrational, which you're not. You just went through a traumatic loss just 2 weeks ago. Your sister needs to be more empathetic to your feelings. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. No. Your sister doesn't know exactly how you felt. And comparisons of any kind are not welcome. Sounds like she just wants to talk about her loss because she's not sure what else to say. So sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. I am sorry for your loss. My brother described his love to his kids some time ago like this. It's hard to understand how much a parent can love a kid. You can only know this by having kids. Do you love somebody so much that you would die for them? No? I would take a bullet without hesitation to rescue my kids. My niece was also diagnosed with cancer last year. So even as an aunt, I have to say that this was already a nightmare. First of all, I can't imagine the amount of pain you and your daughter must have gone through. I'm so sorry to hear all of this. Second of all, not the asshole. Absolutely not. You cannot compare a cat to your daughter. You have birthed her. You have watched her grow up. You cared for her with all your might. Your daughter was literally 50 you, and to compare this beautiful human being to a cat? I can't believe I'm even saying this. I hope I wasn't too untactful in my comment. But yeah, this is my opinion. I wish you the best, Blue Heart. Not the asshole. Your sister sounds like the type of person who is the corpse at every funeral. I'm an animal lover and child-free by choice. My pets are my babies, but I would never ever compare losing them to losing a child. Especially to a grieving mother. Even if she had lost a child, grief shouldn't be compared. Everyone's grief is different. No one can actually say they've been in your exact shoes. They can just offer support and understanding. I'm sorry for what you're going through, not the asshole. Not the asshole at all. I'm a huge animal lover to the point I went vegan to avoid contribute to animal harm, but it's not the same as human harm. It's just not. Especially a teen daughter. I truly can't imagine, and am so sorry you are going through this. Not only are a human and cat just not comparable, but when you adopt an animal, it usually comes with the knowledge they will likely die before you. Their lifespans are significantly smaller, and that's something people know when getting a pet. No one expects or is prepared to lose their child. Sounds like the cat lived a pretty long life. Your daughter did not. She's not sitting around wondering who her cat would have been or what the cat would have accomplished, etc. You had a whole lifetime of things to look forward to with your daughter, and it was taken from you by a horrible, excruciating disease. Not the asshole. Good God, you're not the asshole. I am a cat mom, and have been grief-stricken when pets die. Then when I hear of a child dying, I can't imagine the devastation. You carried her in your womb. You taught her to speak. Walked the floor with her when she had colic. You dropped her off at the bus stop for the first time. You were supposed to see her graduate, marry, have kids, make you a grandparent. I love my cat, but no way can you compare a cat dying of old age to a young girl dying long before her time. Make your sister and her friends read this. Then ask them what the hell is wrong with them. How insanely disrespectful to you and to your late daughter. My brother died and my best friend constantly compared his cat dying to it as well. To the point that he would call me inconsiderate if I tried to contest the comparison. I don't have said friend in my life no mo. Not the asshole, and I strongly advise you to take a break from anyone who says that you are. Continuing contact with these people will not be beneficial to you at all. It doesn't have to be forever. But right now you should only surround yourself with people who truly have empathy for you. Your sister and these people don't. If they did, they wouldn't be calling you asshole. This is unpopular. But honestly, nah. I think people want to connect and sympathize and don't necessarily know how. What do you say to someone who lost a child? It might be better to not say anything. But most people don't know how to say nothing. I don't really know why people persist with this comparison between pets and children. Or how your sister thought on any level that this was appropriate. Other comments on here too. Saying pets can be like children. It's not accurate. Pets are pets and your children are your children. People can love pets deeply. Sure. And they can be wonderful companions. But looking after a pet is in no way comparable to the amount of time and sheer bloody effort and heartbreak it takes to grow and raise a child. I'm so sorry for your loss, op. And that your sister is apparently an absolute dope. 100 not the asshole in this equation. No one is the here honestly. Loss is loss. Grief can feel the same. She's trying to relate to you. No one knows how to help people grieving. But if there's anything in particular you need, definitely voice that to people. I'm really sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. You took it incredibly well the first time she said it, but for her to bring it up again so soon is just odd. I don't think you were mean in what you said, and if you hadn't told her now, I think she would have continued to say it over and over until you did. I lost my beloved cat almost 5 years ago now. It still hurts to talk about. However, I would never compare my loss with the loss my friend experienced when she lost her baby. I have a child now, and if I lost him, I'd how I would be going. Not the asshole. Gonna get flamed for this, but TBH, I lost my soul cat in 2021 and my desire for children tanked. Because I felt and still feel like I lost a child. The idea of having a baby deeply hurts the same part of me that grieves him. Thinking of getting another cat hurts the same way as thinking about a baby. I don't think she meant to be unkind, and I know that parents of actual children feel like it's not a fair comparison. But figured I should explain this piece so you can understand where they're coming from a bit. Nah.
Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I don't want his present? Sorry for the long post, but I am so numb, don't know who to talk to. Over the last 5-6 years I have gotten my husband birthday lunches, framed photos of his art, a website that I made of all his work, microphone amplifier, Apple Watch, leather jacket, a small party on a boat, a private seaside dinner. These were always along with cakes, cards. I am not rich. I just saved for him. He did nothing for my first 3-4 birthdays, or any other life events. Then for the 4th year he sent me $15 gift directly from the seller, not even wrapped. The 4th year I told him that he either reciprocated properly or we are done. That year he buys me jewelry, flowers on Valentine's, but does nothing again for my birthday. We fight again, so he admits that he didn't have much money but promises to fix it, sends me cake, flowers the next day. 5th year he goes all out, sends me a Coach bag, flowers, cake, everything. I am overjoyed. He promises me that he will celebrate me all the time, manage his planning better. I told him that if money is short then we must communicate. He recently released a successful music video. So I booked him a private seaside dinner with 5 courses of his favorite food, a very expensive perfume. The restaurant played his music. Then he does nothing for Valentine's Day. This year for his birthday I buy him a $450 jacket that he had mentioned wanting a cake. Now for my birthday last week he surprised me at midnight with cake, flowers, but next day we did nothing till the evening, so I was pretty sad. But at 5 p.m. he surprised me by calling my parents' sisters for tea. He got me a second cake. I see my parents every other weekend, so I was kinda hoping for a romantic date that he hasn't taken me on since our wedding. I told myself that it's enough, I must be grateful. But the next day my sister told me that he had told her that her gift is on its way. So my hopes suddenly got up again. I started getting excited. Today I asked him what my present was. He said he had ordered me a pair of JBL headphones. But the order had gotten cancelled 3 times. I was so heartbroken because I could tell he was lying. There was no present or no order, so I said I don't want it cause I have my own. I didn't fight at all today. Now he is being distant. The reason I am mentioning the cost of products is because he often gets the finest things for himself. I feel like an afterthought. What hurts the most is that there is a designer belt sitting near our door since a month that he ordered for himself. So I don't think it's lack of money. I have seen him browse watches for his friend's wedding months in advance. My sister says that I was an asshole after he planned such a nice birthday for me. I didn't have the heart to tell her that he lied to her about my present. I'm gonna say not the asshole, but I was tempted to say you were because you're not respecting yourself. This guy is putting in so little effort, and only tries a little after you practically beg him. You deserve so much better. Even if he doesn't have a lot of money, he can plan things to do with you. You can go on cheap romantic dates, and gifts don't have to be all about the monetary value. He just seems to buy basic stuff that you would get for someone you don't really know. In addition to this, you are going absolutely all out for someone who won't put in a fraction of your effort. At the very least, I would stop spending so much money on him. I honestly don't understand why you continued to go all out for him after it wasn't reciprocated after year 1. Dear, you are an afterthought. Accept it now or move on. If you've spent 5 years trying to badger him into caring, and it's hit and miss with some lies thrown in, it's not going to get better. You need to decide if you're willing to accept this for the rest of your life. Not the asshole. Not the asshole cost is not the issue. It's the thought and appreciation of you he does not have. Girl, I'm so sorry. Happy birthday, party popper, birthday cake, confetti ball. Stop buying him expensive gifts. Actually, just stop this relationship. He could have at least brought you flowers your first few birthdays. Not the asshole. You're his cheap squeeze. But the money is going somewhere. Not the asshole. I hope he shows you consideration in other ways. Doing things for you, giving you compliments. But the fact that you haven't been on dates is indeed sad. The gifts don't need to equal, but he does need to be doing something to make you feel appreciated. It sounds like you've communicated the issue to him, so he's not just unaware. I'm really sorry. Not the asshole unless we are talking about to yourself. If your love language is gifts and it is not reciprocated, then why are you with him? There has to be a point when you say enough. Every gift-giving occasion he is telling you that he doesn't care about you and that he only cares about himself. Why can't you see that you married a selfish fellow? Stop already with the gifts. If you want something, buy it for yourself. You can pretend it's from him, but really, would that be healthy? No applicable judgment. This feels like it might be out of the scope of your average Redditor and more appropriate for a couples counselor, I think. I'm not the asshole, but also you guys need to just not do gifts. If he's a perfect partner in every other regard, he might just not express his love that way. To clarify, after you asked, he should have communicated this instead of failing to do better. My BF and I agreed ages ago we're only gonna do gifts on birthdays, and have a $50 budget, and it's been great. Not the asshole. Return the energy he gives you. See how long it takes him to notice. It looks like your love language is receiving gift. Before we jump the gun and call him TA, does he show his love in other ways? What is his love language and does he use it on you? You were saying that he is happy to buy expensive watch as wedding gift but never spend the time nor money to get you something good. Why are you still with someone who you cannot feel the love from? I mean, does he show his love and care in other ways? Obviously you are an extreme gift person to show yours, but is he? I'm getting real actually trying but doesn't quite get it vibes from him, and so the real question is whether he neglects your wants and needs in other aspects of the relationship. Is this a pattern of behavior, or does he just not see how gifts demonstrate his love? Maybe you need to spend less on him. Not everyone likes going all out on birthdays and especially Valentine's Day. Honestly, people should only get flowers and a dinner on Valentine's Day. Don't waste your money on all this bullshit. Do you love him and enjoy spending time together? That's what you need to focus on. You don't need to buy him expensive gifts. Maybe start doing an activity together instead of buying stuff. Some people are just not so excited about birthdays and Valentine's Day. Maybe he just doesn't share the same excitement that you do. Instead of getting angry and forcing him to do things, why don't you two talk about it and come to some mutual understanding? Not the asshole. He doesn't care about you. He has been telling you that for years. Not the asshole. And here's a pro tip. Stop planning these lavish gifts for him and start planning them for yourself. Wrap them up, post them to yourself, make it special, go all out. Then when he asks who sent you those gifts, say you got them for yourself because you knew he wouldn't bother. Shame him. He should be ashamed. It's not even about the value of the gifts. It's the lack of acknowledgement, thoughtfulness and planning for the woman who's supposed to be the love of his life. Are you trying to buy love from people? It doesn't work. And maybe you need to examine how often you spoil people. If it's just expensive loot coming from someone people don't know well, care for deeply, or respect, it's tantamount to most getting stuff from Amazon. It's not a gesture of love for everyone. It's frantic, cloying and desperate sometimes. Get some counseling. Not the asshole. At some point enough is enough. Your love language is clearly gift giving and he's losing you. You've warned him, you've fought with him, and you've grieved for this relationship. You can absolutely try again if you want to, but he's shown he won't change. He will only make grand gestures to keep you when you're leaving. The question is, do you want this for the rest of your life when you can simply find someone else who will actually love you in your love language? Info: was this an arranged marriage? How long did you know each other before marrying? You don't seem to know each other very well. You don't know his financial situation. Do you have children?